happening, people? Just came for a little walk. No, we didn't. Me and Mike came for just a little drive, man. We were sat in Starbucks doing some work, and it was a fucking beautiful day, as it has been recently. So thought we'd just get out in the sun, and actually drove into Cheshire, not too far from the village of one of my ex-girlfriends. Probably what you would consider the main ex-girlfriend. Like, this was a girl that I was with in like college and first couple of years of uni. It's quite. I've been a serial relationshipper in the past, but this was probably the most significant one, and so I'm hit with a wave of nostalgia, and we've been discussing overall just relationships, haven't we, and the kind of complexity of it, and how what a minefield it really is, and you know, it's a deep topic, isn't it, man? But it's interesting.
Essentially, you'll never be understood. And yeah, that's the thing that you want, isn't it? Deep down, you want to be understood. You can be like a lot, but never fully. It's just never the same.
Yeah.
And as you get more and more like experience, a lot of people tend to get more and more like pessimistic and shit like that. Even if you don't display it on the surface, you have these like underlying expectations, and you have like an underlying frame of how you like play it and shit like that. Unfortunately, to a point, you have to do that though a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't
to stop yourself getting like fucked over.
It's the thing, man. You can't be, you know, Hollywood and that tells you be yourself, man. But what if yourself's just a little fucking weasel, man? Because naturally you tend towards just a shit, like, you know, comfortable, easy behaviour, which is, you know, and if you're gonna just. So there's again with everything, there's kind of ambiguity there. You know, be yourself. It's got. Again, as with everything, it's contextual, isn't it? There's a time and a place when that's right, and there's a time and a place when that's complete terrible advice. But yeah, as Mike was saying, man, it's crazy because I think back on like relationships that I've had, and I feel like it's insane how you can be like so close to people, you know, and feel like they actually might be the closest person to you at this time. But then eventually shit kind of falls apart, and you grow apart, and maybe you become different people, or shit gets between you and you break up and then you never see them again. You know, and that's not, and like a lot of the time girls are particularly guilty of this, but they'll say, oh, what a waste of, you know, so many years. But it's not a waste, is it? You know, if you had a sick time, if you helped each other kind of grow at all, or even you don't even need to, even if you just simply had a good time and enjoyed it, you know, that experience is worth it, isn't it? It's not a waste if you don't grow old and fucking die together. It doesn't mean that it was a waste, man.
It's like listening to an awesome like piece of music, and then at the end of the track, like someone's edited it so there's like a big scream, like a horrible noise at the end. You've had those 4 minutes of awesome music though.
Yeah.
Like that bit at the end didn't ruin the rest of it. You've had it.
Yeah.
You in those moments, you loved it. You've had them. Except like a few seconds later, they're all gone.
Yeah, and then
like you still
it
had
just affects your memory of it. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's like a big thing, isn't it? That kind of, you hear it a lot when people break up, like, oh, what a waste, and it's a bad mentality, man. Because if you're always looking for an end point, then you're not in it, are you? You never fully. If you always just want, they're the kind of girls that want or the kind of people, I should say, that want the relationships, that are always waiting for the relationship to get to the next stage. That are always like, oh well, next we'll get with each other, next we'll get married, next we'll get a house, and next we'll do this. You know, they're always the people that are like looking too far forward, and you're never fully in it with someone, are you? You're never fully like actually there. You know, and I think that's a recipe for fucking disaster. It's just a bad mentality, isn't it? But was I saying about as Mike was saying about being under. What was it? Fuck me. That's a fucking big bird, man. Sick. Scenes, man. That's circling, man. It's because you're so shredded, Mike. Yeah, it's thinks you're a carcass, man. As Mike was saying, man, it's weird, like, you know, it's just a fucking. I was saying, like, the best kind of experience you can possibly get, the actual best part of life, is just connection with other people, isn't it? It doesn't have to be in relationships. It could be just with friends or family or whatever, but I think maybe you'd get a different kind of connection in relationships because there's a lot more, it's kind of more scope for vulnerability, isn't there?
Yeah,
which is strange, and it's kind of, it's so complex.
Inevitably, like, with time comes, you know, trust, and then with that comes, like, you can be more vulnerable and shit, like, you can do more shit and say more shit, can't you? But, like, some people have problems with that. Some people have problems with the timing of that. Some people do it straight away, and it's kind of like mad.
Yeah, because
some people withhold
like,
it too much.
Yeah,
and like, you need the right distance between you. You can't be like too much like that, but you can't be like too much like that.
Exactly,
either.
because you can't be, you know, to show a vulnerable side at some point in a relationship is probably a good thing, and it does probably strengthen the kind of trust there, doesn't it? But to be like that the whole time is just to kind of bitch out on your responsibilities as a man and a kind of leader. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was I saying on that? So I'm going on a long time here, but yeah, I was thinking about, like, my ex-girlfriend and that, not her specifically, but I was thinking about how you know, how you can be so close to someone and then break up and never speak to them again. And at the time I thought, you know, oh well, she's just not in the right place. Like, she's kind of, well, at the time I would blame it on her, and to be honest, I still would. But what I mean is, I feel like the male, or even just whoever is the dominant character in the relationship, like, has a lot of scope for molding a relationship into something that works. Like, in the sense that if your girlfriend is a nightmare, right? Let me be blunt. If your girlfriend's a nightmare and she gets on your back about shit all the time, and you feel like you need a break from your girlfriend and all this shit, you know, you need to ask her if you can do shit, then it's because you have allowed it to get like that. Like, at some point you have lost. See, I would say control and power, but it's not like it's a fucking. It doesn't have to be a struggle for it. It's not you against them, but you've kind of lost probably her respect, actually.
Yeah.
You know, through pandering, because there'll always be. I feel like early on in a relationship, there's always a moment or some instances of them kind of testing the water, even if they don't consciously do it. It's an
evolutionary thing, isn't it?
Because think about the honeymoon period, right? The reason the honeymoon period is the honeymoon period is because you're at a stage where you're not quite comfortable enough with each other. It's like you said, you've got the right amount of distance and closeness.
Yeah.
You're not quite comfortable enough with each other so that she doesn't feel like she has the right to pull you up on certain things. Say if you make it an off the cuff joke, or you go and do something with your mates that she didn't quite approve of in the honeymoon period, before you've got that kind of nothing's out of bounds feel that you get later in a relationship, before you've got that, she wouldn't have said anything about it. She would have been maybe quietly annoyed about it, but felt like she had no right to say, and then as a result she wouldn't have said anything, and it would blow over and it would all be fine and she'd forget about it, and then you'd continue with this honeymoon period. But there comes a point when she will bring it up, and that is the time when, if it's reasonable, obviously you have to admit you have to find some middle ground, and if it's unreasonable you have to make it known that it is unreasonable, and you will not you won't pander to irrational shit, because that's how relationships end up in a really bad, vein of you know what I mean. That's how you end up. Like you see so many relationships. Honestly, I see more relationships that I think should not be together. Like more couples that I think shouldn't be together than I think should, because it just ends up in a kind of sour, twisted like it's a me versus you mentality, and it's not like usually a on the same side, because this is the thing, man. Do you see your girlfriend as a burden? Do you feel like you're actually capable of more because of her, because of having her in your life, as like support and like encouragement, but also because you help each other to actually grow and you know, become and fill each other's flaws in a way, or at least you know,
a good way to look at it is like a team mentality. Is she on your team? Are you a fucking team? Do you like work together and help each other with shit? Or do you feel like subconsciously that there's this like fucking underlying tit for tat thing going on, and like point scoring and shit like that? And like people know that and just ignore it, and some people think that's how it is. Some people think that that's reality.
You hear like throwaway comments, don't you? Like, oh, the missus, you know. And you think it doesn't have to be like that, man. You know, it doesn't have to. And believe me, like we speak from experience, and I've had relationships that have gone that way, and you know the best most successful relationships I've had have been ones that haven't been official relationships, probably.
Exactly,
and ones that so you halt that honeymoon period as long as you fucking can, man.
The best times, a lot of the time, like I've been with girls and that, and then I've thought to myself, this was better. This was better when we were both like seeing other people, maybe, or when it was less official, because that's when you've got that element of like groundedness and respect and like rationality. Like the honeymoon period could be defined as like, okay, you both surrender and just go and just like proper enjoy each other and that. Like that's cool, but you've still got to keep your fucking head on. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, you can never just fully submit to it. Like but I suppose it doesn't mean that you shouldn't fucking get with people. I'm not saying that. I just feel like you should always have that kind of fucking balance and that kind of like respect, man. And that's the thing, man. I don't think you can actually like love someone if you don't like fully like respect them, can you? No. You know, that's the minimum requirement. It's the minimum requirement.
Just, like, clingy.
Yeah, and a lot of the time people kind of treat each other as if they don't really respect each other that much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But you've got to be vulnerable as well.
It's a minefield, man. But this is the minefield of relationships, and this is basically this is one of the reasons why I'm not going to get in a relationship now until I feel like it's like properly just, you know,
properly manageable.
Until I can actually put because also
you want to be
the reason why I've seen people a lot, like I've been seeing girls for a long time and never actually like tried to make it official, and that is because I feel like if I did just out of because that's the procedure rather than because I am fucking amazed by this person, then I'd feel like it was actually doing them a disservice, you know what I mean? And you're not fully putting yourself 100% into it, are you? Because that's not commitment, is it?
No.
If you're not actually
you don't want to be there, that's not
Anyway, this is deep shit, man. I ramble on, but I'm actually going to leave it in because it's a bit different.
That's what happens when you have
sometimes you think about stuff, don't you? So
sometimes you have like you get extra shots.
You gotta show a different side to yourself when you've been talking about fingering for fucking the last 80 videos.
Yeah, you'll
so I'm gonna show you some
next 80 then.
Yeah, and I'll show you some cows anyway. Check out.
I'm fucking scared of them.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go in that field, mate.
On another note, I fucking hate cows because of the lack of facial expressions, so you can't really work them out. Do you know what I mean? You don't know if it's thinking you're a bell end or
I'm gonna stamp on your head.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
Delaney is my hero.